Good. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining this special webinar, Introduction to NLP Practitioner Certification. Although it is an introductory session about the course, our intention, of course, is to share something solid about the subject of NLP. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Now, my name is JayaShri Maathaa. I am a spiritual teacher, an NLP coach, internationally certified NLP trainer, hypnotherapist, a psychologist, and also an energy doctor. I know that is two handful of expertise, but those are my specializations that I've developed over the last 25 plus years. At present, I'm known as JayaShri Maathaa. That is my spiritual name. However, I also do have a conventional or a traditional name given to me by my parents from birth. That is JayaShri Maathaa. So in Sri Lanka, people know me as JayaShri Maathaa when it comes to the subject of NLP, because my business, Mind Designs International, which I started in year 2008, when I started off, I was known as NLP coach and a trainer in the country. Now, it's a long story. When it comes to NLP, it's a long story, very, very long story, although it is around 2 decades of story. I feel like it's like many life story when it comes to the subject of personal excellence, personal transformation, enlightenment, evolution, growth, expansion. For me, it feels like I have done this work for many, many lives. So, excuse me. So now in this training, my intention is to share with you my experience of NLP, my journey of NLP, and GamaakShri will share more the technical aspect of our presentation today. So I learned NLP when I was 19 years old, and it was not necessarily a technical NLP training that I got at that time. It was more a motivational and leadership development training done by a very well known trainer in the country at that time. And I was introduced to him by one of my work colleagues. I was working since age 19 at a bank, at a commercial bank, before I joined the university. So someone saw my personality and the way I do my work in the workplace, so suggested that I join these programs. Now I remember doing 3 of his signature trainings, and I was selected as, of course, the best personality in all those 3 training programs. And even at that time, by the time I finished doing his courses, several programs, he had also decided to train me as his how do you call it, the next in line, right? So, but I was selected to do a degree in accountancy at JayaShri University. So I never thought I would end up being a trainer and a coach and a spiritual teacher, all that stuff at that age. However, he saw my potential and he was ready to train me as his next in line. Now, I got so much to motivate myself to achieve my outcomes in life and to have a vision in life. I remember around 10 years ago, it was around 10 years ago when I started my business, and business came to a peak. I achieved quite a big success in my business as a trainer and a coach and a consultant. And I remember suddenly we were shifting offices, and I was going through some of the material, essentially my material, like the workbooks and etc. And I found one of the workbooks that I used when I was 19 years old, and those workbooks from that the trainings that I did with that train I mentioned to you. And I have written down my vision statements, and I have put a signature in red color. When I opened that page, I was shocked. So 10 years ago, that was around, I think, 2012 also, right? Yeah. So I opened that workbook, and I found myself living that vision at that time, right? So it's a very interesting journey. So now I'm 42 years old. So I learned NLP around 21 or 20 years ago. It was NLP based training. Then I realized I really liked this subject about human mind, how to program our mind to create the life we desire, how to overcome the problems we perceive in our life, not by fixing it outside, but by fixing our mindset. Right? So this is all what I learned with that trainer. And I was the number one student in all of his signature trainings. I was like a role model for other students. This is how I was known at that time. I remember that very well. Now, few years fast forward, that is, I get married, I finish my first degree, and then in the same year, I get enrolled into MBA program, another prestigious campus in the country. They take me in for the MBA program with them, and with all that success, and I was a sales manager for Singapore Airlines at that time in Colombia. Now, with all that great success, like I got married to the man of my dreams, or let's say I was in love with, right? I was given everything. Life gave me everything that I asked for: a great salary, a vehicle, a marriage, and a beautiful wedding. Whatever a young woman would have asked for in their life, I got it. But there was a problem. I was struggling with depression. I never knew at that time I was depressed. Now, that's something that you don't know about me, but maybe it is important for you to know about me. That is, I had somewhat a challenging childhood. There were a lot of issues when it comes to my parents, their chemistry, or the experience in the marriage, my father being an alcoholic, and me having two elder brother and a sister. So there was quite a fight for the limited resources. And my mother's expectations on me, there was a lot happening in my childhood. And I never knew whatever that was going through in my childhood, even before I was born. Like I was conceived as the youngest. My mother was 34 years old. And then the kind of hassles and really psychological and emotional trauma that she had to go through in her life apparently had significantly affected me. Of course, we three of us, my elder brother and sister, the impact of those problems we experienced had influenced our life in three different ways. And for me, interestingly, it seemed to me now, looking back at life, I seem to have 101% absorbed my mother's pain as it is. The level of absorption of my mother's psychological, emotional, spiritual, you name it, all types of pain, for me, now I understand as an adult that it was more than 100%. I have absorbed it fully. So her pain apparently was motivating me to achieve things in life. I never knew that. So she wanted me to pass my grade 5 scholarship. I passed it very well just by doing homeschooling, because we, again, at that time, we shifted our home from living in Purnagala district to coming to Gamka district. So my mother was doing homeschooling. So I got very good grades, and I entered Visakha Colombo, Visakha Vidyalaya. And she wanted me to achieve the highest merits for all levels. So I got 10 distinctions. And then she wanted me to achieve the highest for A level. Again, it was not 4 A's, 3 A's, 1 B, but I was an island rank. I was 15th in the island. And still, just because she wanted me to do a different subject, I entered into the faculty of accounting at Jayawadhanapura. So got a first class. So I never knew that I was achieving all my success in life. And what was fueling that success was pain. Even my marriage was like getting married to a very kind-hearted, very loving, and a man from a first-class family. All that happened because I had a difficult man in my life that was my father. So I never knew at the age of 25, all that what happened to me was motivating me to achieve so much. And I was super achiever at that age, but I was also collapsing. So this age 25, 26, 27, this was the time everything in my life was completely collapsing, like every area. I was sick, physically sick, like every month my husband that time would take me to a medical doctor, some kind of checkup, because I'm sick. I'm overweight. I was overweight. I was sick, and I was deeply depressed. I never even knew the word depression. Only later, when I did my MSc in psychology, I realized I was going through not only depression, but several psychological issues. So, long story short, this was the time. Anyway, I knew at the age of 19 how this subject of NLP can change the mindset of a person, can heal trauma, can help achieve the goals that we really desire to experience in life. I had that memory. Therefore, while I was going through this complete breakdown phase in my life, achieved so much very fast. And at the same time, by 26, 27, everything was literally collapsed. Every area of my life, including marriage. Now I was surprised, and I did not know how to deal with it. But one thing I knew deep inside of me, that is, I am going to learn NLP as like technical to become a practitioner. Again, I had no intentions at that time to set up a business. I had no intention at that time to be a coach, and especially one of the leading pioneering coach in the country. I never had any intention of earning money, nothing. I just knew inside of me, in my heart, this subject will heal me. This subject will show me my life path or whatever. Because I'm in a mess, complete mess. I don't even know who I am at that age, actually. It was a devastating time, like as if I was living in darkness and never know what light is. So everyone, including my husband at that time, was trying to help me with their best, but I could not receive any help. But I made the decision, I'm going to learn this subject. At that time, to do NLP practitioner, overseas, my trainers were in Australia, but at that time they were coming to Singapore. So it was a better decision to go to Singapore and learn. But both the trainers are from Australia, mother and a daughter. And they are very well known in the world. So I'm definitely top 10 trainers. So I made the decision that at that time, the cost of that program would have come close to around that time, around 500,000, the course fee alone. I didn't have that much of money, but all I knew was that I am going to do it. I am going to do it. That's it. My decision was very clear. I'm going to do it. This is the right thing for me. Now, I'm deeply depressed, mostly crying, sad, extremely unhappy, and calculating, dreaming, fantasizing about my future, wondering what happened to my life, etc. And waiting to go to this course and learn. Now, I don't have any money, right? I had some money, but definitely not this amount that I could afford. I even confirmed the trainers that I'm coming. They gave me a payment plan. So somehow, one day, I'm living with this decision. I am going to do it. That's it, right? And while suffering with depression and all the other issues, I somehow got some money. My parents decided to give my share of a particular property being sold. That was the only so-called dowry I got from my family. That hardly anything other than educating me, and I'm very grateful. And my husband that time also partly funded this project. And first time ever out of the country. First, I have been out of the country, but first time ever away by myself. So long story short, I finished my NLP practitioner, come down to Sri Lanka, earned that money, whatever that investment, in less than 6 months. I found on the second day of my NLP practitioner course, this subject NLP is me. It is within me. It's not something separate. I'm an embodiment of this subject. And this is my passion and purpose. That's how I felt about NLP at that time. So I set a goal on the second day of the training to become a coach in 3 years' time. I come down to Sri Lanka, less than 3 months, I started my coaching practice because I got an invitation on the national national TV channel Rupahini channel to deliver a 1-hour interview. And during that time, people in the country got to know me and people wanted to meet me. So I started my first coaching practice at a room hired during the weekend at Royal College Skills Center. And then it became a great success because one after another clients were referring me and I was living my purpose. So not knowingly, I have transformed my pain into a purposeful life. Still pain. Still you can see it's the pain that is guiding my life. But it was this beautiful subject called NLP that enabled me. The word is enabled me and truly given me a lot of tools. Like as a practitioner, you're going to learn, I think, more than 20 specific techniques, 20 specific techniques and processes, which can help train the brain or the mindset to overcome past pain, to achieve goals, and to build new internal resources. Fundamentally, 3 things in life, right? You are at a particular place in your life, that is your present situation, but you really feel, your heart says, you know, deep inside in your awareness that you deserve more. You really feel that you deserve more love, more money, more prestige, recognition, more knowledge, more enlightenment, more realization, whatever, more of something. You really feel it, you deserve more. So you are here now, but you feel you deserve more. So you feel there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be. So what is in between? That in between space, that whatever that I think I don't have yet, I can't do it. It's not for me. I don't think I don't have the luck, right? Maybe the time will not, my age will not allow me. Likewise, we have so many limiting beliefs that is disabling us from filling that space between our present state and the desired state. So what NLP essentially does is help us to understand where we are fully now, and of course have a very solid and a clear goal about where we want to go, and fill that gap. Fill that gap. By doing what? Doing all inner work, internal work. That is how Jamini, a depressed, broken, like woman, became like a #1 trainer in the country. And then a non-spiritual teacher, someone who really broke the rules of how a woman, would behave in the country, and then showing women the possibilities of awakening and truth and possibilities for a woman, not only beauty, money, and health and love, but truth, enlightenment, right? So it's a long story. Now, NLP essentially gives you those three things: that awareness about where you are, and super gives you those powerful tools to set goals, where to take you where your heart desires, and allow you to experience it for real, not just dream. Right now, when I did my well-formed outcome process, which is a famous NLP process, right, which we teach in the subject of NLP, I remember when I was about to do that process, I never had a goal. I was so disappointed because I didn't have a goal. Because I have achieved so much, I have lost almost everything. My life was in a mess. Now my trainer is asking me to set a goal. I didn't have a goal when I was writing down the well-formed outcome. I was looking around everyone else. They are filling their forms. I was not doing it. Then my trainer came to me and told me these words. She said, Jaya, just pick something from thin air. That's what she said. Just pick something. And suddenly this idea, okay, I will become a coach. That idea came to my mind. And I just answered the questions. Even when I was answering, I had no belief, no idea how I would become a coach. I never even knew that I had the capacity to become a #1 coach and a pioneer. Actually, I'm the one who pioneered NLP coaching in the country. There was no NLP coaches or for that psychological coaches in this country, right? So that's why we used to call ourselves, when we identify NLP Sri Lanka, we used to identify ourselves as the pioneering leader in professional and technical NLP training, which is very true. There were the trainers delivering NLP-based training, but it was me who brought the technical, really the international level technical professional NLP training to the country. So that is my story. NLP helped me transform my life from whatever that was broken into something very interesting. I like to call it interesting because I'm work in progress. I'm still work in progress. I have a body, I have a mind, I have a history, my ancestors, and my national identity and ethnicity, you name it, we have all those unconscious patterns within us. So I'm actually a work in progress, if you like to call it, to date, even to date, right? Even in this very moment, I am using NLP in my life, right? Recovering from a little pause or facing a relationship dynamic with my family, preparing for 2023 with the current economic condition in the country. I am using NLP even to date. And this is the very reason I'm teaching it after 20 years. Still, I'm teaching it, right? So this is my path. And in 2007 that I did my practitioner course. And in no time, I think within less than 8 months, I think within a year, I complete the master practitioner. And that investment I recovered, that would have been around 1.5 million, I think, at that time. I recovered again in no time, right? And then I remember doing my trainers. Trainers is the highest level in the path of NLP certifications. I did that in 2011. And that was in Australia, a residential 17 days training, very intense work. and then of course, who became a coach and all that stuff, right? So I have helped thousands of people using the subject of neuro-linguistic programming. I'm still using it. I use NLP to help people in every area of life, to achieve whatever they desire to achieve. Health, wealth, relationships, education, personal development, and spiritual growth. And over the years, I have helped people in all those areas, including those who are aspiring to become self-realized or enlightened, those who want to do meditation, those who want to find that spiritual liberation, so to say, right? That is my main focus as of now. However, I do fully understand this life is both form and formless, as in you have a mind and you have a body, you have both dimensions. So you are a spiritual being, yes, you're a spirit, but you also have a physical experience. So sometimes people get only driven by spiritual work and struggle in their material life. There are people also, quite a larger number of people, interestingly, struggle to fix things in the material life, but do not have that spiritual awareness. So what do I do as a coach now, or a teacher now, essentially use not only NLP, but there are many other modalities I have learned over the years for personal transformation and evolution. I use those techniques, tools, and processes to help people bring complete balance between material world, material experience of life, and the spiritual experience of life. So in a given time, the human being feels in harmony with their body and the physical expression of it, and their spiritual or the non-physical experience of it, right? There's no feeling of like being pulled apart or separated out, that I'm only trying to achieve something in the material world, thinking I'm a physical being, I have to do things physically. Without doing things physically, I cannot achieve kind of very stressful life, versus there's no meaning in having material stuff. Material world is something to be looked down upon. It's ugly, unpleasant, it's impermanent. It is a sin to experience material stuff. It is not the way for a human being to go after material stuff. And it's only the spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening, that what really matters in life is one extreme perspective. And I've gone in both extreme journeys, right? From an early age, materialistically achieving so much, but deep inside yearning for a spiritual realization, and that came to a certain so-called height, or like a pinnacle in year 2019. And thereafter also, I'm still alive. So with the new identity, I'm still being of service to people in the country as well as people in the world. And my message is that I'm helping people to bring complete harmony between material world and the spiritual world. You don't have to feel as a human being that you are fighting over one thing or the other. Like having material success will deprive you being one with God or being in love, right? Or being a spiritually aligned person will not allow you to have a complete life. Like complete means complete life as a man and a woman, right? This is a misunderstanding. So my work at present is actually to help people bring that complete balance. Now, that's my journey with NLP and what I'm doing with it. Now I invite GamaakShri to take you through the technical part of the presentation. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please hold them up till the end of this session, and we will definitely answer them by the end of the session.
If you're joining now, I would introduce ourselves again. So this is Mind Designs International, NLP for Life. So this is about NLP Practitioner Certification, introductory training. So we want to talk about what NLP, how NLP is affecting our life, and what you can do with that. So in the first part, JayaShri Maathaa talked about her experience with NLP. JayaShri Maathaa is my teacher as well. So how and why NLP was created? So all started with this person, this human being. So this is Richard Bandler. So about 50 years ago, that is early 1970s, Richard Bandler had some interesting life circumstances coming together. He got exposed to cutting edge ideas about human mind at that time. And he figured out human mind is not that solid. It's pretty malleable. It can be changed very easily if you know how to do it. And so things that came together were, he was a university student and he had a lot of part-time work. Like he was a rent collector for a housing scheme. And in that housing scheme, there was this person called Gregory Bateson. Gregory Bateson at that time was a very old person, and he's well known in the social sciences circle. So he pretty much knew everybody that is of importance when it comes to social sciences. So Gregory Bateson saw some sort of potential in Richard Bandler and gave him references to go and meet people like Virginia Satir and Erickson and Fritz Perls. So there was a lot of references given to Richard Bandler from Bateson, and a lot of people, a lot of older generation people actually consider Bateson to be the original founder of this particular discipline because of the work he has done up to that point. However, it was Richard Bandler who was sort of the catalyst, the person who was in the middle of everything to bring everything together. So the people he met, so the lady on the top is Virginia Satir. She's a family therapist. And sometimes she would bring a family of maybe 17 people together and help them to figure out how to work with one another. So there were photos of her. If you search online, you would find some material from her in YouTube, and also some photos of she doing these large family sessions. So and I think she might have been quite tall, because Richard Bandler refers to her as sort of a mother figure, where she would go to certain mental institutions, and then Richard Bandler would be hiding behind her and going to all these places. And then Milton Erickson is a medical doctor who is also happened to be a extremely successful hypnotherapist. So the hypnotherapy that we learn in NLP is called Ericksonian hypnosis, because it is modeled after this gentleman, Milton Erickson. And Fritz Perls is a co-founder of Gestalt therapy. So he worked with his wife to create Gestalt therapy. And I left this image with the chair because it's about talking to an empty chair and how you get to a resolution by talking to that empty chair. So Richard Bandler learned a lot of things interacting with these people. And since he's a university student, he started working with other people. And being a university student is not the only job he did. So he was a cameraman, a member of a band, administrator of the computer lab. So this is the people we are talking about are not regular day-to-day people you would meet. These are in the extreme edge of excellence. Virginia Satir, Fritz Perls, Milton Erickson, Richard Bandler, John Grindler, these are people in the extreme edge of human excellence. So Richard Bandler started applying these techniques on other people. When people have a problem, when university students would have a problem, he would help them, making use of the things he has learned. And one person took note of that, and he said, okay, so if you can show me what you do, if you can teach me what you do, I will tell you what you're doing. So this was a linguistic professor. He understood how things get structured. And he's the person who brought structure to NLP. So he's the gentleman in the corner, John Grindler. So Richard Bandler and John Grindler are commonly considered to be the founders of NLP, the people who created that. But there were a lot of other people coming together to help in this initiative. First they learned, and then they started contributing back to the system. So some names. Steve Andreas, Robert Dills is in the middle, Michael Hall, Christina Hall, Judith Delosier, and a lot more people. So a lot of books being written at that time. And there's tremendous contribution happening in the sphere of NLP, in the sphere of excellence. And something happened in that time frame, and somebody got a little greedy. So let me try to answer the question, what is the Global Certification Authority for NLP? So there were lawsuits and generic terms. So what happened was, now NLP turned out to be quite a good money earning mechanism because it works and a lot of people are contributing with a lot of knowledge. People you can change pretty fast. You can become excellent at something quite fast. You can overcome your challenges easily with NLP, and people are making it better and better. So at one point, Richard Bandler decided, this is mine. I own this. So he put up a lawsuit, especially against John Grindler, and then everybody else as well. So what happened with this lawsuit was a lot of books went out of print, a lot of knowledge got destroyed. But at the end, after about I think 2 years, the highest court in UK decided nobody owns the term NLP. It's a generic term. So what happened with that was there was a lot of fragmentation. There's countrywide fragmentation because of the language specific nature of NLP. So there's French study groups of NLP, there's Spanish study groups of NLP. The language structures are quite different between these languages. So some of the techniques that we use in NLP in English medium cannot be used in those languages, and they cannot be used in Sinhala as well. So there's this language specific fragmentation. And then, of course, the philosophy based fragmentation, like new code of NLP as introduced by John Grinder later stage, and systemic NLP as introduced by Robert Dills. So the philosophy, the underlying philosophy of NLP has changed. So there's this tremendous fragmentation of NLP. So in 1970s, there was an attempt to unify NLP and have one person own it, but that lawsuit failed, and that what it did was it made NLP a generic term. So right now, there's no global body, and there will never be a global body for NLP. There are a lot of organizations that try to offer a different level of certification, but there's no global unique body that can offer you global access to all NLP resources. So that's where it is. And NLP did not stop in 1970s. NLP kept growing, and then a lot more people start contributing back to NLP. And some of these people are not even in NLP. Like if you take people who do police interrogations, and people who talk to terrorists, people who negotiate, people who do drama, they come up with a lot of new ideas. lot of because it's all about studying what is happening in the world, studying how other people get things done better, and then modeling it and making it a technique. So there's a lot of contribution that is been happening even on spiritual spheres, even with the gurus. There's a lot of new knowledge being created. And when we do a NLP training, we need to make sure some of the content is not obsolete. We need to make sure that that content is still new. And so there's a lot of studies, like for me, I personally have read about 70 books related to NLP, and then I'm keep updated about whatever that is going on in the side of neurology research to bring in that information. And we have brought in quite a few new techniques to our NLP practitioner certification, because some of the older techniques we had, the new techniques were much better and much more effective. So that's one of the things that is going on in other certifications as well, I hope. But that is quite true for us. So the techniques being continue to update. And that also adds to the fragmentation. Like techniques like 6 steps reframe is like pretty much dead for, as far as I know, in all schools except for the really, really, really old ones. So there's context and content reframing that is much newer techniques that are being added. So for us, like instead of regular belief change, what we mostly make use of is the transcendental inquiry. So these are changes that are being happening in the world and that are being reflected back on the NLP practitioner curriculum. So NLP is a living thing. So if you ask the question, what is NLP? It's a living thing. It is a 50-year-old technology that is keep growing. What is most important aspect of NLP is it's a philosophy about life, about living. NLP offers that you don't have to stay mediocre. You don't have to stay average. You don't have to be struggling in your life. Your life does not have to depend on, what sort of parents you were born into, what sort of a country you were born into, what sort of life circumstances you are born into, what sort of childhood you had, what sort of education you had. Your current life circumstances does not have to depend on anything. Because whatever conditioning you had that is making you live in a subpar life, you can overcome that. So NLP is a philosophy. NLP is an invitation for you to make a decision about your life. It is an invitation to make a change in your life in whatever the way that you choose. At the same time, NLP is a mind technology. It's all about mind. A lot of the time people would tell when it comes to a coaching session, they would act as if the challenge is outside. But with NLP, what we have figured out and what we have applied in our life is challenge is always inside. If I don't have connections, that is because I'm not going out and making connections. If I don't have money, that is because I'm not figuring out ways to earn money. In every recession, there's somebody who is earning a lot of money. The society always had rich and poor. For a certain period of our life or human history, in a certain period of human history, if somebody is poor, they never had a chance of getting rich. That society does not exist anymore. In this society, if you want to have something and if you don't have it, you are 100% responsible for not having it. One can be born poor, that is not that person's fault. But if they're still poor, then that is that person's fault. So NLP is a mind technology. And here I talked about money and having money as if it is the only form of success. That is not the only form of success. So I'll talk about some of the things we use NLP on. So if you choose money is to be your definition of success, yes, definitely. If you decide that is your career, if you decide that is the business, if you decide relationship is your definition of your success, if you decide to be enlightened, if you decide to be aligned with your God, that is your definition of success. So definition of success is not given in NLP. What NLP says is if you decide that to be a certain level, and if you are not there, you need to keep changing, you need to keep evolving. And with the mind technology, what you get is ever-growing toolbox to make things faster and better. Make use of the toolbox to make things faster and better so that you can reach your outcome. One of the things that JayaShri Maathaa emphasized in her session was how she did not have a goal in her NLP practitioner class. And her trainer said, pick something out of thin air and go through the process. A person who didn't have a goal now have a goal. And that could be you. Like maybe you have defined your goal, maybe you know what you want to achieve in your life, maybe you don't, and that's fine. NLP will give you an opportunity to create that. And if you have a goal, NLP will give you tools to refine that. And if you have a goal, but if you don't know how to achieve that, NLP would give you tools to go about doing that. If you know what to do, but if you're not capable of doing that, NLP has tools to do internal and external clearances to get it done. So this is the beauty of NLP that I have experienced in my life. So my life, my personal experience, what have I used NLP on? Well, first thing I had to overcome was social phobia. So I had and have social phobia. What it means is I don't like to talk to new people a lot, which interprets to I don't like to do. There was a time that JayaShri Maathaa had to say, no, do a video, and I wouldn't do a video. And when I try to do a video, I would stammer throughout the whole thing. Like my first video, first video I recorded, deciding that I want to publish it. I think it was 1.5 minutes long and it had about 5 words. JayaShri Maathaa said, okay, go ahead, publish that and we will see what happens. So I had come a long way from that, but I had to overcome myself. I had to overcome my own fears. People would look at this and laugh. People would think this is insignificant, inferiority complex. There are other people who are doing it better. There are other people who has a better face. There are other people who has a better voice. There are other people who has better ideas. When they see my ideas, they would laugh. No, that's not true. None of those are true. But these are the stuff that I use to block my success, block my goal, block my outcomes. I was my own obstacle. Same is true for you. You are your own obstacle. If you don't have something, you are 100% at fault. Nobody else, not your parents, not your neighbors, not your children, not the auntie next door. No, not the Pansale Hamduro or Palli father. No, none of them. You are at fault, 100%. They might have contributed in one way or the other. They might have put ideas to your head, but it is your fault. You did not take them out and, put better ones inside. Improving skills. One of the biggest skills I did not have was asking for money. People would come get the service and I would, linger around till they give me money. And I thought it was common sense for people to give me money. And I could not ask, okay, you can pay now. Give me money now. I could not ask that. Took a long time for me to figure out I have a problem. See, this is one of the things. You have problems, we have problems, but we do not know we have a problem. And we think it is normal. We think it's okay. We think that's how it is. No. Excellence is found very rarely. So if you look around and if you see some things that are like you, behaviors that are similar to you probably are not excellent. Probably are being mediocre. Probably are being very happy, being average. You don't have to. You don't have to struggle through. As the Rumi says, why do you crawl when you can fly? To fly, you need to decide. You need to choose to fly. And one of the bigger things I had to overcome was procrastination. Procrastination is not laziness. Procrastination is not that I'm lazy, I'm not getting it done. Procrastination is I have a drama in my head that activate when I want to take a step. You know, maybe I don't have right lighting. Is this good lighting? Should I bring my hand like this? Now it shadows my face. So I need to be mindful about that. So, and if I look at the light straight, I get blinded. So do I have good lighting? Yes, because you can see my face. But I would spend hours and hours thinking, should I keep the light here or the other side? Or should I go out and buy another one? This is procrastination. And if you have not decided what you want in your life, you're okay because you don't have a goal. Anybody who doesn't have a goal, anybody who doesn't have something that significant they want to achieve in life to gain for themselves or others, well, NLP doesn't say anything about that situation because there's nothing anybody can do about it. But if you have decided to have certain things in your life and if you're not moving forward, and you're probably procrastinating. So procrastination is one of the things NLP helped me to overcome tremendously. And other aspect of NLP is how I earn money. So I do a lot of things. I am a software professional. I was a software architect some time back. And then I started doing other things as well related to software like quality assurance, project management, DevOps, a lot of stuff. But my main income right now is life coaching, Reiki training, meditation, manifestation, and secular enlightenment. So all 5 of them, I have Reiki in them. I have NLP in them. When it comes to life coaching, the one-on-one work I do for people to overcome challenges, figure out what they want to have, and if they set an extremely challenging goal, to build resources to achieve them. It could be overcoming procrastination. It could be clarifying what you can have, what you want to have. It could be letting go of things that are holding you back. How do you do that? We make use of NLP. NLP has vast array of tools and techniques that you can make use of to work with your mind. And sometime back, when I wanted to do Reiki training, Reiki is energy healing modality. I'm a Reiki grandmaster, so Reiki is energy healing modality. And when I advertised Reiki trainings, few people called me and asked, can everybody who got Reiki attunement or Reiki training do Reiki? I said yes. And they said, but I can't. And I asked them, are you sure you got that attunement? So there turned out to be a minority or a small group of people who learned in Reiki and they cannot do Reiki. So this was very interesting for me because I wanted all my students to be able to perform Reiki treatments. I want 100% results. So then I had to relook at our training. I had a good talk, I chat with them, figured out certain aspects about them, because now when you have learned enough NLP, you can have a conversation with a person and learn things about them that they are not telling. You can learn things about other people that they're not telling, that they do not know about themselves. You can learn it with NLP. So I learned a lot about these people, about their characteristics, about their personality. And I looked at my life, I looked at other peer students we had, and I made few changes to the Reiki training. I brought in a couple of techniques to make sure my students can always sense Reiki. The problem these people, the people who were complaining about their teacher, they were the head boss, they cannot sense the Reiki sensations. It was very easy to solve if you know how mind works. But a lot of Reiki trainers do not know NLP, so they don't know how mind works. So they don't know what to teach. When people don't know what to teach, they teach whatever they learned, and that is not a good way to teach. You need to teach the student in front of you, not repeat what your teacher said. You need to teach the student in front of you. To teach the student in front of you, you need to know the student in front of you. Hence, NLP. And the second thing I got into after life coaching and Reiki, the third thing I got into was meditation. So we've been teaching meditation, JayaShri Maathaa and myself. We were both teaching meditation in our corporate interventions, and when we are doing life coaching sessions, when it is applicable, we would teach them a meditation. But we never thought teaching meditation as a public class, because this Sri Lanka and there's a lot of meditation classes happening in Sri Lanka. So one of our NLP and Reiki students in a casual conversation with me, he said, "I can't meditate." That was quite surprising to me, and I asked him, "How do you know you can't meditate?" And he said, "All the meditation teachers that I visited, that I wanted to be student of, have told me that I cannot meditate. You are not a meditation person," and that's what the teachers have said. So that was very interesting to me, because this person can do Reiki. So if they can do Reiki, then they can meditate. So knowing this person, since I know this person for a while as a NLP and Reiki student, I gave a single meditation to him, and he managed to go into deep samadhi states within 4 to 5 minutes. Within 4 minutes, probably less than 4 minutes. Deep samadhi states, no thoughts. Then I asked him, "What do you think?" He said, "I can meditate." So then why these teachers were saying that he can't meditate? Because they are doing the same thing. They're teaching something that they have learned, as if the like one size fits all. We know one meditation, everybody learns this one meditation or 2 meditations. Everybody learns this. That's not how it is. Everybody can meditate, but the meditation that you do need to fit your personality. So that's where NLP comes in. What sort of person are you? What are you trying to achieve? Doing what will get you there? NLP can answer these questions. And NLP did answer questions. So the luminous meditation training programs that I have created is based on NLP, mostly NLP. And some of, like, we have brought in new neuroscience findings. Like, neuroscience have done amazing findings in last 5 to 10 years. So we have brought in that information as well. But there's a lot of findings from a lot of content from NLP in the luminous meditation. So that's why it works for everybody, and everybody can reach dhyana states very fast. And manifestation trainings. Manifestation trainings are usually referred as law of attraction, but law of attraction is only one law, universal law that one needs to know. To do manifestations, there are other laws a person needs to know. So that's why I have changed the names to manifestation trainings. When I talk about it in general, I use the word law of attraction, but that is a misrepresentation. It's manifestation training. So when we talk about manifestation trainings, now one thing that stood out was the level of misinformation and the struggle people go through. Like, they would take part in a training, they would try to achieve that, and they fail, and then they come to the conclusion maybe law of attraction doesn't work. Law of attraction works if you know how to make it work. This is where again NLP comes in, because I had to look at the whole landscape of these manifestation trainings and synthesize what actually worked and what is decoration. The same is true for secular enlightenment. Secular enlightenment is enlightenment, or as the Theravadic Buddhists call enlightenment, but without religion. So in secular enlightenment also, I had to synthesize the enlightenment practices from Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, Christianity, Sufi, Zen. So all these practices, and see whether the religion actually played a role or whether it was secular. So it turned out it's secular. It turned out manifestation had a structure. And that structure started off by clarifying the goal properly, the manifestation. So a lot of manifestation trainings start off assuming your goal is correct. That's really bad. When you learn NLP, you would learn to clarify your goals better. There are some goals that are really toxic. So manifestation trainings, many of them fail, and many of the techniques are wrong. So we have added better techniques based on NLP. But it is mostly about how you look at your goal, how you look at what you want to have. In the secular enlightenment, same NLP was used to synthesize the common denominator of enlightenment and then synthesize the methodologies towards enlightenment. So if you look at all these things, you can say NLP is a big pillar, a bunch of pillars in my life. It not only allowed me to transform, it also allowed me to create income generation. It allowed me to add tremendous value to the people around you and also to my students. Imagine being able to tell that when somebody calls you and asks, does Reiki works for everybody, and being able to say yes. Imagine being able to tell your meditation students that you'll be able to reach deeper samadhis without, struggling with meditation for 15, 20 years. You can probably do it within a month. Things are not hard. Life is not hard. But a lot of the time, people are doing it wrong. So it becomes hard. If your life is hard, you're not living it properly. So that's what I have for you